And that takes us to the point, which is when you are a perfumer and you are using these bases directly, it's nice in a way, but it's also very, very limiting to your understanding of perfumery, because you, as a perfumer in this age, you have this knowledge here, these ready bases, which they did not have back then. But back then, they were trying to create these. They were not only using the raw material, they were using the raw materials to try to create these. But nowadays, a lot of things going on in perfumery is actually using these bases directly and just tweaking them a little bit to get you to the new formula. You can have 200 perfumes by having one base and making 200 very small tweaks. A trained nose would be able to tell that this perfume contains this kinds of bases, especially if the base is a big amount of the perfume or a big factor in it. But at the end of the day, it's very important to know, as a perfumer or a student of perfumery or customer of perfumery, what this is about. Because a lot of the perfumes would be just bases. And this happened again in the modern, like the very modern compositions of perfumes now. You get a lot of feedback from people who smell non-niche perfumes, then they come to the niche, specifically for us at Elixir Attar, and they say, for example, we are so tired of mainstream perfumes. Even the niche mainstream, they say, it smells very similar to one another. The story is similar to this. The formulas are tweaked more than being built from scratch. But there is a big difference between a perfume built from scratch and the perfume made from a formula that's tweaked a little bit. And this is where the idea of bases becomes very important. The building blocks can be like, you can have a perfume house now just buying bases and adding alcohol, and you'll have new perfumes. Anybody who knows anything about perfumery will smell 3 or 4 of your perfumes and they will know that these are basically clones of the bases, but not the regular customer. So as a perfumer, if you want to be good in perfumery, you should be trying to make these unique bases for yourself. And we have several of these bases, in-house bases. We have a base which we used in Ballad number 1. It's so complex, it took us time to make, trials and errors. We have a very famous base used in Huaxia and other of our perfumes. One of them called Tharim, for example, it's sold out now. It was a limited edition. It's the same base was used in both perfumes, but the base is completely ours. So it's very important to know this idea and differentiate between these ready bases, which are very nice to learn. You should be able to try and learn how these things came to be, what's in them. That's nice. But the idea of the bases being repeated everywhere, whereas you have someone else who's trying to create the base, they are not equal. And bases are nice, and it's nice to use them sometimes. It's nice to try and understand them sometimes. But as a perfumer, if you don't know how this formula is made, how it works, why it smells like that, then you're still a long way from the people who made these bases originally, who were like experimenting with crazy chemicals, even at some times making their own molecules, which I have come to understand very, very recently from some friend of mine who's into vintage perfumery. Some of these companies were creating new molecules, synthesizing new molecules for perfumery. So you can imagine the difference between this kind of perfumery, where you're building everything from scratch, versus when you are just repeating. That's why a lot of the vintage perfumes also became similar, because of this existence of the spaces. So it's just something that I wanted to share with you guys. Thank you so much for your attention. And we thought about this video for some time. and just had time to do it now. So thank you so much, and have a great day or night wherever you are. Thank you.